Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be basically doing a breakdown of how I, over the past 2 to 3 years, was able to supercharge my net worth to go from, I'll show you guys here. This was my account balance on April 22nd or April 7th, 2022, had about $5,000 to my name, now to multiple six figures. A lot of you guys have been coming from the video that I uploaded, which was how I afforded my M340i in my 20s. So I wanted to basically throw together something simple for you guys to use, some sort of a framework that can be used for you guys to either get out of debt or start basically contributing to investment accounts and growing your net worth, either through your 9 to 5 income, some sort of W-2 if you have your own business, if you're working blue collar, anything that falls under the umbrella that you're making an income and you want to put your money to work. I'm going to basically provide this basic framework of the steps that I personally took to go from $5,000 to my name, like almost 3 years ago, to now having multiple six figures, basically through supercharging my investments. Okay, so to start off, I basically put together the spreadsheet here. It shows the flows. Don't worry about the stuff down there at the moment, but what you're gonna do is, once you have a substantial income, obviously you have to learn skills and you have to have money coming in. That you guys have to fucking figure that shit out on your own. I'm not gonna tell you how to increase your income other than learning new skills and everything like that. But once you do have income coming in, these are the steps that you're gonna take to basically start putting your money to work and having your investments compound and grow over the years to eventually get to a point where, in the future, the goal is obvious to live off of this income that your investments are generating. Okay, so first things first, if you have any sort of debt, if I'm talking about car loan debt, student debts, personal loans, you need to be controlling that debt. So first step you need to do, tackle that shit. If you have income coming in, live at home. If you don't have the opportunity to live at home, get roommates, get some sort of way that lower your expenses so you can quickly and very efficiently contribute money to this debt, because you don't want this shit hanging over you. The point is that if you have some sort of personal loan or a student loan, you need to basically cancel that shit out as soon as possible, because if you have debt that you're keeping on your balance sheet while you're making money and having these investments, there's no point. You're basically netting to zero against your investments, and at the end of the day, you don't want to be pulling out against any money that you're making in the market. So avoid any additional bad debt, excessive spendings, and start with a clean slate. Start at zero. You don't want to go more into debt, and just try to control that. So the second thing that I personally did when I started making my income about 2 to 3 years ago was that immediately off rip, I decided that I need to create a budget. I personally don't use a budget now because I've gotten to a point where I understand my monthly expenses and I understand where my money is going. And if there is any sort of like miscellaneous expense that comes in that I don't know about, I have like reserves and, like I said here, emergency funds to basically account for those miscellaneous expenses. So the first few months of having your income, you need to literally go into a Google sheet, and you need to be writing down exactly, okay, I'm spending $200 on gas a month. My rent is $1,000 a month. I'm spending $500 on groceries and eating out per month. You need to do that for 2 to 3 months, and then go through your bank statements and basically check, okay, did I make my budget or did I not? And then you just need to basically adjust accordingly. The second thing you need to be doing is, once you have a budget that you feel like you can follow and you have excess money that's sitting past your basic expenses, you need to be opening up a high yield savings account. I'm talking about Amex, Capital One, SoFi, anything like that is fine. And you need to stack 6 to 12 months of emergency expenses. This is going to basically be a little cushion or something that can hold you over if shit hits the fan, if you lose your job, or if some big expense randomly comes up. So stack an emergency fund of 6 to 12 months of basic necessities, not anything fun. This just allows you flexibility, gives you a cushion for unexpected expenses. So if your expenses are $2,000 a month, you wanted to have 12 grand to have at least minimum 6 months. So the next thing you need to be doing, Once you've gotten your debt cleared and your emergency fund is ready, the next thing you need to be doing is opening investment accounts. If you have a W-2, or if you're working a 9 to 5, or you have your own business, or you even work in a blue collar job where there is some sort of 401k match or investment accounts, make sure you're taking the match. You need to be taking the match because that's basically money that you're leaving off the table if you're not taking the match. Open a 401k account. Personally, you need to also open up a Roth IRA, and you need to start contributing money to these accounts as much as you can. There's basically a saying or a guideline that I personally don't believe in and I don't follow. It's the 50-30-20, meaning 50% is spent on essentials, 30% is spent on fun, and 20% is spent on like saving and investing. Fuck that shit. If you are in your 20s like me, early 20s, you need to be front loading your investments as much as humanly possible. I'm talking about you basically need to contribute as much as you can. That's what I did for 2 to 3 years. I had the opportunity to stay at home for the first 2 years of my investment journey, and I've been able to basically contribute heavily, and this has allowed my income, my portfolio to grow 10x, 20x, right? So I personally don't follow this. Dude, if it's possible, live on 20, invest 80. It's not possible for everyone, so you just have to figure out what your bandwidth is, but you need to be front loading investments. Fuck that shit like all figured out later in my 30s. Nah, once you're in your 30s, you got responsibilities and you don't have the leverage to be able to invest this large amount of money. So so the next thing you need to be doing is opening personal brokerage accounts after you open like a Roth IRA, and you need to be making contributions into them. I'm talking about like you can open a Fidelity account, Vanguard account, anything like that, and you need to be contributing cash into these accounts and DCAing in. I'm not going to explain to you what DCAing is. You guys have to look that up on your own. Just look up DCA on Investopedia. But basically, you want to contribute these accounts and you want to buy basic ETFs. I'm talking about VU, QQQ, IBIT, S Gold. If you want gold exposure, you need to have these reoccurring buys going so you can snowball your account and build it. You need to be hitting portfolio milestones. You need to be hitting 10K, 50K, 100K just by constantly contributing and constantly investing into these accounts. So now create a strategy. Only after you have created like a substantial base, like I said, 10, 20, or 50K, then can you start picking and choosing your personal stocks that you want to invest in. Personally, for me, I've been talking right now for a lot. Need a little water break. Personally, for me, I pick a sector that I think it has the most upside potential, but it's also a sector that isn't too volatile. For me, I focus on tech stocks and I focus on financials. So tech stocks, Mag 7, anything like that. I try to stay above a $50 to $100 billion market cap because those are companies that are to a point where they're so large that honestly they're not going to fail. And then I try to pick a sector that I'm interested in and that I think I can make a good return on. I try to avoid restaurants. I try to avoid biotech because it's super volatile. But yeah, pick a list of stocks. I'm talking about you can pick Google, Oracle, whatever, Nvidia, whatever you want, a few lists of stocks that you're gonna basically invest into, and you can swing trade them, whatever you want to do, whatever your strategy is. I personally don't use options for any of my trading. I literally just swing trade if I need to do individual stocks, but at the same time, I still keep a very, very large base of just basic, safe ETFs. I only started touching into individual investment accounts or individual stocks after I got that base of 100 or 50K, 100K. And I was only testing it with a very small portion of my net worth. Once I got better at it, started making larger buys. So as for stocks that you're monitoring, you need to have 5 to 10 stocks. You don't need 20, you don't need 30, 5 to 10 stocks that you're basically looking at on your phone every single day. You're waking up, you're scrolling through your phone, and you're fucking checking the prices. What is the movement? Why is there like a 5 to 10% dip today? Should I really be buying this? Something that you're basically like, I can tell you the closing price of the 5 to 10 stocks that I monitor every day because I'm constantly looking at them. You need to know these stocks like the fucking back of your hand. Okay, so some basic rules that I follow. At all times, I keep 15 to 20% of my portfolio in cash. This allows me to basically have dry gunpowder ready to buy the dip. So let's look at this shit. Literally, S&P 500 year to date. What happened earlier this year? Trump started announcing these crazy tariffs. There was a huge dip. We went down almost 20% to the low. Yeah, we almost went down 20% to the low. At this time, I was very, very high in cash, and this allowed me to heavily buy the dip. And since then, we've made almost 40%, 35 to 40%, which was insane. So because I followed that rule of having 15 to 20% of my portfolio in cash, actually at the time I was even more. I think I was maybe closer to 30 or 35%, just good timing. I heavily bought the dip, and I made since then, since April, it's November, about 6 to 8 months ago. In 6 to 8 months, I made almost 40% simply because I had the cash on hand ready to buy the dip. So you definitely need to be making sure that you have cash available and keeping at least 15 to 20% of your portfolio in cash. Also, for me, don't over leverage. Don't play options. Don't open accounts and start trading on margin, and don't fucking trade emotionally, bro. It's not worth it. If you have any sort of conviction in a stock that you're buying, buy it and hold that shit. Don't buy a stock and then it dumps 10% the next week and you just end up dumping it because you're scared. Have some conviction. So after you've done all these things, you just have to remind yourself, buy assets, invest in yourself, stay liquid. So what should your goals be? You should be learning new skills, creating other streams of income, past your 9 to 5, past your business, past your blue collar, past whatever you're doing, past whatever side hustles you have. And you should be hitting portfolio milestone goals. I'm talking about 10K. So go from 0 to 10K, go from 10K to 50K, and 50K to 100K. Easier said than done, but it takes years for me, dude. Like I said, this picture right here, at the time, look at this, $1,300. At the time, bro, I was literally making, I had an internship in college. I think I was making $19 an hour, and I was working 20 hours a week. So I was literally making, and then times 0.85, look, about $1,300 a month. That's it. That's the only money I was making. But from there, after I got my job, I decided that, okay, I'm making all this money now. I need to contribute it and invest it correctly. So increase your income, have other side hustles, whatever you're doing, and you need to scale, compound, reinvest, grow, and hustle. And rinse and repeat this shit for years, bro. I've been doing this for now almost 3 years, and I've gone from like a few $1,000s to multiple 6 figures. And this plan that I'm using, that I set up, is the plan that's going to basically scale me from 6 figures to eventually 7 figures to $1 million portfolio. And I'm going to keep on rinsing and repeating, and I'm going to keep on investing, and I'm going to keep on doing this shit, because this is the only way to get rich. That's straight up what it is. This is the only way for someone that is working to really make sure their income is getting supercharged and it's actually going towards something. So yeah, that's basically it, bro. I wanted to basically throw this video together for you guys because I got hundreds and hundreds of DMs, hundreds and hundreds of comments from you guys basically asking me like, what should I do? How should I start? And I've been trying to respond to all of them, but I thought maybe if I throw this together, this gives everyone a basic framework of where to start and how to increase your income and how to start getting your investments working for you. So yeah, I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you guys have any other questions, make sure to hit me in the description or hit me in the comments. I do have a one-on-one investment kind of like, you can ask me questions about anything investments. I can help you open accounts. Link is in the description. But other than that, I just want to upload this shit. We'll get back to the normal car stuff in the next video. I'm actually, at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna go shoot some rollers with this kid that we're gonna be filming in Malibu. So I'll post more content for that. But I appreciate every single one of you guys. You've been running up that video. We're almost at 100K views on that. We're on the way, and we're almost getting to 2,000 subs, which is crazy because we hit that shit. We hit 1,000 like 20 days ago. So yeah, I appreciate everyone. Make sure to just dial in and keep working, and you'll achieve all your dreams and goals, for real. All right, see you boys. Thanks for watching.